Off the Hook, airing on offthehooksports.com. Your home for real news, real opinions, and what really matters about Tennessee athletics. The Off the Hook podcast at offthehooksports.com or Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or wherever you go for your favorite podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, iHeart. Like, share, follow, subscribe. Off the Hook with Dave Hooker starts now.
He is Chris Landry. I'm Dave Hooker. As Chris Landry of LandryFootball.com cannot be beat. You have to check him out, LandryFootball.com, if you want to know more than your friends about football. And I'm talking NFL all the way down to recruiting. Be sure and click on that like and subscribe button so we will show up on your YouTube feed and you can get the latest insight from former coach who has quite the pedigree. Speaking of pedigree, what's best for your pets? See what I did there, Chris?
I did.
Craft
You're good. You're so good.
Thank you. Thank you. Craft Treats high-spectrum CBD treat that contains minor cannabinoids that increase the benefits of CBD for your pets, not pedigree. We're talking about situational anxiety, storm anxiety, car ride anxiety, and my poor dog, it really helps him with the arthritis. So, again, that's Craft Treats. Go to Craft Treats. There is a link in this video where you can get a special discount just by clicking on it. All right, Chris. So this is it. This is the opener. This is Ball State. It's not a sexy matchup, but if you can, give me a rundown about what I need to know about Ball State as they take on the Vols on a Thursday night game.
Well, if you go back and look the past few years, they've really struggled. Now they had the great 2020, the MAC championship, but they've got 7 losing seasons in 8 years. So they've really struggled. Several years ago, you remember they had a really good team. They've got a quarterback in John Paddock that can run the football world well. And he's worked behind their other quarterback, Drew Plitt, for a couple of years. They've got some backs that can run pretty effectively, Carson Steeler and Will Jones. The tackles are pretty good. The interior of their offensive line is not very good. The defense was just okay. It had, some meltdowns even in MAC play last year. It was okay against the run for the most part. So the top pass rusher is Tavian Woodard. He comes back, and he's the toughest guy to block. There's not a lot of size up front. I mean, that's where the big issue. They've got a 5'11" kid, Justin Ramsey, who's 298, and he's a fire hydrant type of player. Plays along the defensive line. The back seven's going to really struggle, I think, in coverage. But they lose this Jalen Thomas, who's a pretty good player, and they've got 2 linebackers that I think are pretty solid, Clayton Cole and Brandon Martin against the run, but I don't know that they're – now, Martin was really good last year. He missed prior to getting hurt. He hit some knee problems, some shoulder injuries. He's a senior. They're going to have to play elite-level football for this team to kind of slow down Ball State. They've offensively – outside the quarterback, Johans Tyler, the receivers, a big kid, about 6'3", 200, been fairly productive on a MAC level. I mentioned Carson Steele and Will Jones and Paddock. Corey Stewart's the best offensive lineman on their team at tackle. And outside of the linebackers, Martin and Cole, Uduname, the corner, is a pretty good player. I mentioned Tavian Woodard. And Cole Pierce is the other guy that I think's a really good player to keep an eye out for. So, it's a game that they're going to have a hard time slowing down Tennessee's offense in any way, shape, or form. And then on the other side, their best chance is to try to hold the football, to try to run it some more, and limit Tennessee's possessions to make this game somewhat competitive for a while.
So, as a coach, I know this is the type of game that Tennessee would like to get more out of than just a W. Let's start on offense. What would they like to see? What would make them feel good about what could happen on Thursday night?
Well, I think they want to, in their offense, they'd like to establish their rhythm and work the timing in the passing game, use that to where you kind of get the timing sharp with a little, I call it a mini bye before Pitt, because you play Thursday and you get a little extra time to heal and get ready. So they're going to want to work on that. For me, offensively, I'd like them to work a little more in the running game as well. But I think they're obviously what they'll do is try to work on their route concepts and their timing. That's what they want to focus on. Everything to me at this stage is, with limited time in pads and everything, is mental errors. Dave, you can't have the mental errors. Sometimes that's a carryover. It may not cost you this game. It may cause you to maybe be ugly in a win, but that carryover effect could get you beat against Pitt. So you or any, down the road. So you've got to, I think it's about how you execute what you run. There are a number of things you can try to work on, but it's about how you execute it. Whatever you're going to do, execute it well. Don't have the mental errors limit that as much as possible. That's what you want to get out of it.
What about defensively? What would make Tennessee happy on that side of the ball? What would they specifically like to see? Because, I mean, they're probably going to dominate and win, but what would they like to see on the defensive side?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot that they're facing offensively in this Ball State team. If I were going to say there's a strength, it might be that, that Ball State defensively has got a couple of playmakers on defense. Offensively, you got a quarterback that's going to be limiting the passing game. They're going to get behind against Tennessee, going to really struggle. They're going to have to abandon the run at some point. I think anything other than a physical and emotional domination in this game would be a disappointment, because I just think that this Ball State team is very limited in terms of playmakers, limited in terms of a passing game. So I don't think the threat's going to be there. So again, like limited assignment errors, play your gap, be fundamentally sound, and I think anything short of doing that consistently and throttling this opponent's offense, it's not very good, would be probably disappointing for them.
Chris, I don't know necessarily if you do predictions or not, but we've kind of danced around 8 or 9 wins. When all is said and done, and goodness knows, you bring up Dan Mullen a lot. I do too. We didn't know Dan Mullen wasn't going to be the head coach at Florida this year. So predictions are what they are, but where do you see Tennessee landing at the end of the year?
I felt like they looked to me like an 8-14. That's kind of when I look at them, that's what I see. Now, when I say that, that's what they are. It doesn't matter. I mean, it matters what they are, but it matters in relative to the opponents that they're playing. I think they're catching Florida and LSU at the right time. And so I think the chances of beating LSU in Florida this year is better than in previous years, and maybe better than in future years. So I think there's a chance that you could split there, maybe even win both of those. I don't see that the variable, though, being that Tennessee's better than I think, but that maybe those teams may not be as good as they have been in the past. So I think the Pitt game and the Florida and LSU games, which is, by the way, we go through October 8th, and we'll have all three of the – we're going to learn a lot then. Again, and then you hit the back half of the season, and how do you come out of the games, the Georgia and the Alabama games, meaning physically, because that could hurt your chances against a Kentucky or someone else that you clearly are better than right now. I just look at it, and I would say from a roster standpoint that I probably put it at 8-4. But as we go through the season, what I like about this is like breaking down tape and seeing how all the teams progress or regress, or because you don't stay the same. You either get better or get worse. But, everybody tends to look at it from their team viewpoint and like make assumptions based on, well, every game we win, we should have won, but then we could have won this. We could. Well, there's a reason why you didn't win that. And there's a reason why you did win. And so breaking down in is going to be a lot of fun to see whether this team, even though I see them as an 8-14, could they have a better record than that? I don't think it's going to be worse than that. I don't. I think it's kind of 8-4, 9-3, and 10-2 only if really some teams fall apart in their schedule. But to me, I see them more as an 8-4, 9-3 type team.
Can't imagine if Tennessee were to creep up to 10 wins. But I don't think they will, but I can't imagine the response from Tennessee fans. I'm kind of with you. I think 8 is incredibly doable. I think 9's possible. So he's Chris Landry. Go to LandryFootball.com. Again, LandryFootball.com. And you'll know more about football than anybody in your circle. And if you go to crafttreats.com, there is a link provided to get you a discount. Go to Craft Treats and you can take care of your pet. Make your wallet and your pet happy in one simple click. So, game week, Ball State, it is here. This is a presentation of Off the Hook Sports. For Chris Landry, I am Dave Hooker.